Hello everyone, and welcome to the Midnight Cryptid Club. I'm your host, Natalie Rose, and thank you so much to those of you who joined us this past year and to everyone who's new. Welcome. We have more cryptids to talk about, more friends who come and visit, and more chances for us to get to know each other a little better. Remember, we also host club meetings twice a week on our TikTok page. We are live on there on Tuesdays and Thursdays, around 11 p.m. EST usually. So come, join us, tell us your own cryptid stories, or hear from other cryptid lovers. We've had some really awesome conversations on there, and I would love for you to join us. Now, most of you have come here with a pre-existing love or at least understanding of cryptids, and usually some general knowledge on a few of our more popular creatures like Bigfoot, Mothman, etc. But every now and then, I get the question, what is a cryptid? So join us as we do a little club onboarding and dive into what makes a cryptid tonight on Midnight Cryptid Club. Now, the word cryptid is defined by Merriam-Webster as an animal that has been claimed to exist but never proven to exist. This is made up of crypto, meaning hidden or covered, and id, meaning body, so hidden body. Now, I actually really like this definition because that's how we treat cryptids around here. I like approaching the idea of each creature scientifically. We talk about the biology of the creature and how it could possibly exist in our world by comparing it to other creatures that have already been discovered. This is what makes this pseudoscience so exciting. And beyond this basic definition, there are three key ingredients to every cryptid that we talk about: eyewitness accounts, detailed physical descriptions, and lack of a verified specimen. So let's take the Dover Demon, for example. There were 3 eyewitness accounts by 3 different teenagers in April 1977. And the craziest part about this was that none of the teens knew or spoke to each other before the articles about the creature were released. Each of these teens gave detailed physical descriptions of the creature. They all described it as having a watermelon-shaped head, spindly limbs, and standing about 4 feet tall. 2 of the teens were actually able to create sketches of the creature, which were almost an exact match to each other. And while all of this circumstantial evidence is very compelling, we don't have a verified specimen of this little guy. So, with all these criteria met, this is 100% cryptid. That mystery is the same thing that keeps us coming back to research, explore, and further understand our creepy cryptid friends. For example, a single sighting doesn't mean much, but cryptids rarely come with just one story. They come with clusters, people from different backgrounds, different decades, sometimes different countries, describing remarkably similar things. Take the Yeti in the Himalayas, the Yowie in Australia, and our very own Bigfoot here in the States and Canada. There has to be some kind of connection between these big furry giants. Most of these cryptid sightings also come from people who aren't thrill seekers per se. They come from normal everyday folk like truckers, hikers, hunters, people who know the outdoors and what normal wildlife looks like. And they may not always be right, but they're pretty tough to dismiss. There's also the physical evidence, which is so convincing but never conclusive. Like the Fresno Nightcrawler footage. In 2007, this CCTV footage was captured by a man in Fresno, California. While on first glance, it kind of just looks like someone in a coat, Sci-Fi's Fact or Faked tried to recreate something similar and deemed it unexplainable. And if you think about it, there is a lot of our Earth that remains unexplored. Hiding places for these creatures still exist. And there's no knowing what could be found deep in the ocean, underground, or in the heart of the forest. But this leads us to the question, if they are real, why haven't we found one yet? Well, actually, we have. For years, stories were told of massive creatures deep in the ocean with long tentacles and giant bodies. This is a video of the giant squid. This guy can grow up to 16 feet long and lives deep in the Pacific Ocean. We didn't actually get a video of this guy in his natural habitat until 2004, and that's only a little over 20 years ago. There have been other species too that were thought to be myths before enough solid evidence was recovered, like the okapi in the DRC in Africa or the coelacanth in the Indian Ocean. The okapi is said to look like a mix of a giraffe, horse, and a zebra. I mean, tell me that isn't a spot-on description of a cryptid. So, if these criteria do make a cryptid, what is not a cryptid? One of the biggest reasons cryptids are so confusing is because the word has slowly become a catch-all for anything strange or scary. But if we're going to talk seriously about cryptids, we need to draw some lines. Things that don't count. Mythical beings. Dragons, griffins, unicorns, phoenixes, they're not cryptids. These creatures come from ancient stories and legends and religious symbolism sometimes. They were never reported as unknown animals living alongside us. They were always part of mythic worlds. Cryptids, at least in theory, are supposed to be animals that could hypothetically exist right now. 2. The paranormal. Ghosts, demons, shadow people, poltergeists, these are not cryptids. They aren't biological organisms. They don't eat, reproduce, or leave behind bones. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Natalie, you talked about La Llorona and that's a ghost. Yes, I did, but I did not refer to her as a cryptid. We typically shy away from the paranormal in general on this channel, but every once in a while I will talk about folklore creatures, which could tie into mythology as well, but I always draw the line. 3. Aliens and extraterrestrials. UFO sightings, gray beings, abductions, those fall under their own category. Ufology typically, not cryptozoology. Cryptids are Earth-based by definition. There can be some gray areas, Fresno Nightcrawlers, anyone? But if it arrived on a spaceship, it's technically not a cryptid. And the 4th are internet creations. Slenderman, Siren Head, backrooms entities, these all originated online. Cryptids can be exaggerated, cryptids can be misinterpretive, but they can't be designed. Once something starts as a story meant to be scary, it's not really a cryptid. All that being said, this is pseudoscience, meaning nothing is quite exact, and there are lots of gray areas. I mean, we love gray areas around here. That's where all the magic lives. This might seem harsh or gatekeepy, it really isn't meant to be. It's about understanding why cryptids are so fascinating in the first place. They aren't just scary creatures, they're unsolved questions. And while all of this may not be enough to prove that Bigfoot is hiding in your yard or Nessie's at the bottom of a lake in Scotland, it's enough to keep our eyes peeled, our beliefs strong, and our curiosity alive. I hope you all enjoyed this little look into what makes up our cryptid friends and why we over here at Midnight Cryptid Club find them so fascinating. I hope you're all sticking to those New Year's resolutions, whatever they may be, and we have a few more for you. We challenge you to spend some more time out in nature this year, whether it's on a cryptid hunt or just out to get some fresh air. Get out there and explore, and tag us in some of your adventures and expeditions. We'd love to see what you're up to. But for now, good night, sleep tight, and don't let the monsters bite. So we're gonna pause here. That mystery is the same thing that keeps us coming back to the thing that keeps the hope alive. Archaeopteryx dukes? I'm just gonna say the giant squid. Just roll it up.